Hi, hope you've had a good week. This year is going to be in the memory of Rachalea Bas Rebbetzin Tzvi. As always, it should be an aliyah for her neshama. We're in Yechezkel, and as we'll see again in this Perek Hey, he's called upon once more to open up the realm of practical nevuah. So as you recall, this is not the first time and not the second time. A number of times he was told to do actions, and through doing these actions his nevuah was concretized and became part of this world. By way of introduction, I want to expand a little bit on what actually happens in the course of practical nevuah, and why this sort of nevuah is different than other sorts of nevuah. So I want to introduce the idea of there being more than one world. So when you ask somebody, our imaginary somebody, what's a universe? So we'll say it's a construct that contains things. And in the case of our universe, the things that we'd be talking about would be gravity, electromagnetic force, and strong force. So the place that contains all of these is called a universe. So we have a similar construct when we're talking about spiritual worlds. So in order to understand this construct, we have to explore the word world in Hebrew, which is olam. As some of you may have heard, the word olam, which means both the world and it also means eternity. So if you say Hashem is melech ha'olam, he's the king of the world, he's the king of eternity. The word olam, which means both time and space, therefore, is related to concealment. How so? Time-space is what creates physical, tangible reality. By its nature, both time and space are defined by their limitations. If it's now, it's not later. If it's today, it's not tomorrow. If it's here, it's not there. If it occupies this space, it doesn't occupy that space also. So, at the same time. So, Hashem created olam. He created the possibility of concealment. That means Hashem's essential being, which how could we discuss? We discussed in the negative, Ein Sof, he has no limitations, but what is he? Yes. We could say Kadmon, that means he's before everything, but what is he? We could say he's a master, but that implies relationship. What is he without relationship? So we have Hashem who's intangible, unknowable, beyond the scope of the human mind to discuss. For reasons that we don't have to know, he decided to begin a process of creativity. So in order for that to happen, in order to end up with what we have now, Hashem took giant steps of creating more and more concealment. Each realm of concealment is called a whole world, with its own rules, with its own reality. So the first of the major worlds, there are limitless acts of concealment, but the first of the major worlds is called Atzilut, which means near him. Which means, picture interface. Here's infinity, here's tangibility. The interface has components of both. There is an element of absolute godliness, but there's also an element of his moving outward beyond self towards creativity. So that's where, the divine spark of wisdom, I want there to be a world, would begin. But in the terms that we know. His mind is not our mind. The next step downwards is closer to what we could talk about. It's called Bria, which means creativity. So that means taking the abstract of the flash and addressing it to the creative process, creating the possibilities of being. The next step down is called Yetzirah, which means formation, meaning taking the possibilities and giving them form. What will the world be like? And finally you have Asiyah, our world, the world of tangibility. So because all of the other worlds were created for the sake of this world in a certain sense, which is the lowest of all possible worlds, is the most important one. So, in order to understand the next phase, I want you to envision in your mind's eye a chain with links. picture 3 links, one after the other. So with each link, okay, this link number 2, okay, has something of link number 1 in it. So this arrangement of worlds is sometimes called the Seder Hishtalshelus, the order of the chain. So what that means is there's something of Atzilus in Bria, something of Bria in Yetzirah, something of Yetzirah in Asiya, something of Asiya. No, that's the last, isn't it? So when you realize that the most external part of Bria is the highest part of Yetzirah, the most external part of Yetzirah is the highest part of Asiya, you've got the picture. So what does this have to do with anything? Why am I talking about this at all? The reason I'm talking about this is to give us an appreciation of this, that